Allahu Akbar.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum, greetings of peace. We're here and I'm excited. We got our brother, Sheikh Ahmad, all the way from Japan. Sheikh Ahmad, are you there?
Yes, I am. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
How
wa
you
barakatuh.
doing, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, fine. How are you? Thank you.
Good, good, alhamdulillah. So it's Sheikh Abu Hakeem, and originally your name was Naoki?
Yes, that's right.
MashaAllah, how things in Japan?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, the things here regarding to COVID is getting settled little by little. Yes, people are start living like previously. Of course, with all of them are wearing masks, of course.
こんにちは。
Konnichiwa, is that how you say it?
Konnichiwa is a greetings for daytime. Yes.
For daytime.
Yep.
How do you translate peace be with you? Assalamu alaikum in Japanese.
皆さんに平安がありますように。
Alhamdulillah. Give us
Could be.
some of your history, and you also have a PowerPoint presentation that you're going to go ahead and share with us. Can you start that, please?
All right, thank you. Can you start showing the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
We're going to go over with the 26 years of experience as a Japanese revert.
Very quickly, yes. Please go on. So let me self-introduce myself a little bit, then remarkable notes for Dawah in Japan through my experience, then possible challenges for Japanese leaders and Muslims. Yes, please go on. Yes, as I was introduced, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My given name was Naoki. Maeno is my family name. So, Naoki means it's actually a straight big tree. So as you all know, the names have its the secrets and the luck. So alhamdulillah. Hometown is I was brought up in the middle of Japan, Aichi Prefecture. Yep. Then alhamdulillah, I was fortunate enough, thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guided to Islam January 12th, 1994 at the age of 18. So it's been 26 years now. Now you know my age. Education, I was graduated from Osaka University of Foreign Studies, majoring Arabic language because I embraced Islam. Then second, I studied during 2000 to 2006 in Damascus. Alhamdulillah, I was fortunate enough because it was before the Thawra, before the the corrupts and everything. Studied under many beautiful and wonderful teachers. Alhamdulillah. Please go on. Thank you. So forget about my work experience before going to Damascus. After coming back to Damascus 2006 September, all those 14 years I've been working in Japanese company and trying to get the understanding of the realities. Yes, go on please. And at the same time, working as volunteer for Dawah works and educational works. Yes, alhamdulillah. So some remarkable notes for Dawah through my experience is that the debate style persuading approach, aggressive approach like street Dawah, which may be quite accepted and popular in Western world, is not suitable for Japanese, in my opinion at least, because as you know, Japanese in nature, in general, are quite shy. So when they come approach near to you, then start approaching to them, starting about talking about Islam and so on, even with the gifts or whatever. They may show you that they are very much interested in listening to you as an etiquette, but in their hearts, they are not really welcoming. Please go on. Second, active players in the field of Dawah among Japanese leaders are always limited, while such players among second generation are rising. The second generation players are rising, which is very good, alhamdulillah. However, these only, even considering my little experience of 26 years, I don't really know, those players in Dawah field among leaders are quite limited. Why is that? Perhaps it's because a nail that stands will be hammered down for the mentality of Japanese liberals, and this norm is in Japanese society is very big. Whoever stands up, everyone dislike it. That might be a reason. Please go on. Number 3, targeting new people all the time until they pronounce words of Shahada and leave them after that without proper follow-ups seems very self-satisfying effort and unfruitful at all, unfortunately. I know seeing people embracing Islam and then pronouncing Shahada is very joyful thing, happy thing for all of us Muslims, alhamdulillah. However, many those who are enthusiastic in Dawah activities are very much into targeting on those new people only, and then forgetting about the follow-ups, which is more important. Yes, please go on. That's why for those 26 years at least, on many it's a little less than 100 years, or even about around 100 years since Islam reached to Japan, or Muslims reached to Japan. Still the numbers of Muslims here in Japan is very, very, very small and limited. Why? Because many people are come and go because of lack of the follow-ups. And number 4, the language, cultural, mental barriers between Japanese liberals and Muslims immigrants do exist and make many Japanese liberals away from masjid and its activities. Perhaps modest, because mashallah Muslims in general are all kind and generous. So they do care about the other person's feelings. So too much, taking care of the other person's feelings, maybe that is the cause of not coming close to each other. Yes, go on, please. Living profession of Dawah worker is now rising gradually in Japan as well. However, its efficiency is questioned because Islam does not separate practicing faith and daily life activities, as you know. So if this norm increases, I fear that people in Japan may take the view of Islam as similar to other religions, Buddhism, Christianity, whatever, which separates between practicing faith and daily life activities. Thank you. Go on, please. So these are just for because of the time, for your knowledge. There are many, alhamdulillah, a few Japanese Muslim figures. Yes, of course, some of them passed away, rahimahumullah. So possible future challenges for Japanese liberals and Muslims in Japan are the challenge that we have to keep Islam as Islam, not the deviated sect or whatever, because there has already been some trials to make Islam as Islamic sect under religion of Japan, which is to make anything coming from outside of Japan suitable for Japanese way of living. Number 1 is Islam is a comprehensive way of life, of course, not separating sacred and profane. And secondly, Islam is truly international. MashaAllah, I like the advertisement of the ICNA, what was it? The Islam prohibits racism. In America, I think the racism is also quite severe social challenge in America, right, as well. Thank you very much. Yes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you know, clearly says in Surah Ibrahim, Sayyidina Ibrahim, the 4th, أعوذ من الشيطان الرجيم, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ. We've never sent any messenger except with the tongue of that people, so that, in order to be clarified. So I do strongly believe that message of Islam need to be spread if it's in Japan, in Japanese language, inshallah. Thank you very much.
That's absolutely right, Shay. Tell us, what really struck me about your story was that at such a young age, 14, I mean, we say young age, but many times, when you go back in history, you see that young men at that age, they were totally different. They weren't stuck just playing Xbox all day, stuck in the basements, many just doing things that they shouldn't be doing and not even reflecting about why am I here? What's my purpose? What am I living for? You started thinking about that at the age of 14. What triggered that?
I thought that's very normal or natural thing for anyone, any young people who are the age of privilege, to ponder upon why am I here? What am I living for? It is so special.
It is, right? Isn't it? But don't you find it odd that many people, like you say that, okay, that you find it, that's a natural question to ask. You want to ask, but many people, do you find it odd that many people, they just...
Yeah, the answer for that, which I thought of, is that because, reaching to that answer is very difficult. So people just, tell themselves, forget about it, then, go after the joys.
Uh-huh. And then you talk about that you thought that answer was because it was close to home and the majority religion, is that right, was Buddhism? So you were, did you go towards becoming a Buddhist at one point?
Yep, exactly. They once really determined and wanted to be a monk.
So you were a Buddhist at one time?
Yes, I was, before embracing Islam, yes.
So tell me, is it true that, I remember, I don't know if you know Sheikh Hussein Yi, he also was a Buddhist.
Yes, I know him. Yes.
Did you ever meet him?
Yes.
MashaAllah. When I interviewed him one time, we were talking about this. We went into Buddhism and he talked about Buddha himself. What's his actual name?
The Gautama Siddhartha.
Yes. He talks about possibly that he might have been a prophet of Allah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, possible. And then Buddhist people would be happy when they hear that. But many of them, so I was, misunderstand. If some Muslim tells that Gautama Siddhartha or Buddha might be a prophet, they end up, convincing themselves, okay, then I'm fine to, keep being a Buddhist.
No. Yeah, that's the same thing when you look at the true message of Jesus. Isa alayhi salam, Moses. Yes, when you go to the core of their message, it was Tawheed, pure monotheism, calling people to be Muslims, those who submit to the will of God, and practicing Islam, submission to the will of God. So when you studied his life, is there any connection with what people are doing today? We're actually worshiping him, or have they gone far away from his core message?
Yeah, it's totally opposite to what he preached for. Yeah. He never, taught people to worship me.
It's kind of what we see like in Christianity. We don't find...
Exactly. Yes.
With all due respect to our Christian...
So as a matter of fact, you see the very interesting history of the Buddhism statues. They start with the footprints, then gradually the ankle and the knees, and it gradually completes the statue.
Well, this is amazing, because when you go deep into what we have left of the Bible, you see that nowhere ever did Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, peace be upon him, ever say that I'm God, worship me. So similarly, when you look here, same thing. You don't find what we have today in modern day Buddhism, huh? So this is the interesting thing also, that you had, like most had, a very negative image of Islam. Talk to us about that.
Yes. Well, because while I was, late teenagers, all the news which comes through the TVs and so on was like the news of the war between Iraq and Iran, and the Iraqi war, whatever, all those horrible, aggressive news about the Muslims. So anyone who don't go deep into the realities behind the scenes, they end up, concluding themselves, oh, they are very, violent people and fanatic to their religions and so on. That's how I was as well.
Same thing. Was this before 9/11 or after?
A lot before 9/11, yes.
So this was even before 9/11?
Yes.
Now, what was we know the media, a lot of them here, but was it the same? Are they just parroting the same thing that the media here in certain parts of the world? The same thing in Japan? They were spitting out.
Well, for your information, the media in Japan is like a copy of the media West.
Same thing?
Yeah, very similar. It's almost same.
But what was kicking it off before 9/11? What were they pushing out before 9/11? Give us some examples of things that you heard about Islam that obviously weren't true.
So as I mentioned, the example of the war between Iraq and Iran, it's a war between the same believers, Muslims. So anyone who sees that news, how in the world those believers in the same religion fight against each other? So what kind of religion is that? And things like that.
Mm-hmm. Now the Japanese, question, because a lot of this stuff is coming from this side of the world. Were they smart enough not to fall for the negative lies and misinformation and propaganda?
Well, of course, sure, some people should question themselves, but unfortunately, most of them are quite happy enough within their societies, with their lifestyles. So they don't really, bother themselves to go deep into the real truths behind the scenes.
Yeah. Tell us now, Japan, this is where this sad and tragic event happened where you had two of these bombs, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is where it happened in Japan, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Give us a little bit of history of this. Just in a nutshell, what happened during this time and how many people were killed, innocent people?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know about. I don't remember about the numbers, but so many people, got killed. So naturally, I think as any non-Japanese would think about, because of those Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japanese must have been hating Americans or things like. As natural, feelings of human beings. However, very uniquely or very ironically, only very limited people hate America. Most of them are following American cultures, and so you see how America succeeded in brainwashing Japanese.
Yeah, that's why I gave that example, because you see what they're good at doing. It's dividing us, separating us.
Yes.
Islam brings us together. Like you're my brother over in Japan. We've never met, but we give each other that greeting of peace. Peace be with you. And then you come over and stay at my house, minimum of 3 days. I got to take care of you. How's that?
Thank you.
It's the truth, right? We've never met, but there's that bond. There's that connection right away.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So tell me, Sheikh, what was it that changed your perception about Islam? And I'm just gonna make a disclaimer, because some people tuning in and they think like you did, oh, Islam, here we go, those terrorists, this, that, and the other. But Islam, obviously, as you know, is just calling the human being not to submit to money, to Jesus, to Buddha, to anything except the creator of the heavens and the earth. The one God that Jesus worshiped, that's the God that we're worshiping. So what changed your perception about Islam?
Seeing and knowing the realities of Muslim life, true Muslim life. As I was exaggerating the importance of the point which Islam do not separate between the practicing faith and daily lives activities, because all those the Buddhism, which I wanted once to be a monk, and other religions, Christianities or whatever, many religions in the world, they do separate those two, right? So ever since my ego awoke and then searched for the true religion, I wanted the true religion which do not separate, which is complete way of life. So I found that in the life of Muslims, and alhamdulillah, I was fortunate enough to find some Muslim friends while I was in Australia, Melbourne, as an exchange student. Yes.
Was it a hard transition now? Because at that time you're still a Buddhist?
Yes, I was Buddhist. Yes. I was astonished, by listening to the sayings of the friends. How they were so confident in the truthfulness of Islam. When they were talking about Islam, they were so confident, which annoyed me a lot. How can you be so sure?
The truth gives you that confidence, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
It should make us arrogant but proud that we're upon the truth. That this is the truth, the haqq from the creator of the heavens and earth. There's not that like in the back of your head, is it really? No, it is 100%. And that's what have you make a grave sacrifice. I mean, you're an intelligent person. I mean, you have a lot of credentials to show for it, you know, and I mean, you got to go against a lot of odds. Like many people I've interviewed, you really have to put Islam to the test and scrutinize it, take an analytical, scientific approach, which I'm sure you did before you submitted in Islam.
I'm sorry, I couldn't follow the question. Was it any question?
You had to make sure 100% that it was the truth, obviously. So you did your homework. You did a lot of homework. How long did it take you before you concluded that this is the truth?
Not too long. Not very short time. A very short time period. Just I had to, you know, go beyond, come across the final line of acquiring the enough confidence to overcome the possible future challenges for my life. I mean, as an individual, you know, Naoki, because I was in the position of having a very biased viewpoint against Islam. You can say like one of enemies of Islam. So I could easily, you know, imagine how people would react to me if I were to become a Muslim. So I had an anxiety, you know, for that. Yeah. So in order to come across just that anxiety, I needed a week of time, but only because I could fully convince with the concepts of, I mean, what Islam teaches about the relationship of God and people and everything. So that was only the matter of coming across the barrier of, you know, getting the confidence.
Now, besides the kind nature, the hospitality that you experienced from this family, they also did something. They didn't just stop there. They also did the dawah, not just with their behavior and character, but they gave you a gift. It was the Quran. And you were astonished because the person that gave you the Quran, he said, read this for yourself and think for yourself. Tell us about that.
Yes. So that was the beautiful approach, a beautiful way of approach to let the one who you want to give the message to think by themselves, because there was another. I mean, they had a brother. I mean, who was younger. I mean, older than me. He approached to me in the way of persuasion, and I did not like it.
And then same family. This is from the same family.
Yes, same family.
Okay.
Yes, the one who gave me the mushaf, the copy of the Quran, and then told me to think by yourself. That was the father of the family, and the persuading approach was the brother, the son.
That we can derive so much wisdom from there. I mean, benefit. Look, it's a father and son team, a family. Like not only exhibiting the true nature of how Muslims should be kind, hospitable, right? It doesn't matter, Muslim, non-Muslim, they welcome you in their home, they took care of you, but also they did the dawah, they shared the message with you.
Yes, mashallah.
And do you feel now that from there, that what he told you to do, would you advise other people right now tuning in? He said, read this book and think for yourself. Don't think like Fox News or this news station or this Islam hater wants you to think, right? Think for yourself after reading this book. Was that a powerful statement? And would you advise others to, I mean, just copy that, do the same thing, what he told you? Do you give often that same advice to people?
Not straight away. After building the personal relationships, that's the very important point.
Yeah.
Not just go and knock the doors of others or the visit, the meet people and then straight away give the books or booklets or whatever. No, I don't recommend this way.
In Japan?
At least in Japan, no.
Oh, Japan, here. We have different types here in America. You got
exactly.
like, the bus stop dawah, 1 minute, you got something.
I understand.
You got someone, your neighbor, maybe take some time to know them, right? Yeah. So there's different versions. But how is it in Japan? You said that Japanese really like to read. Here we've lost.
Yes, they do like to lead. They like to lead, but with their choices.
Yeah.
They don't like to lead things that they were given.
Ah, okay.
So they do take them very proudly, but most probably those booklets or whatever goes into the rubbish bin, unfortunately.
I have to give an example because you see there is a lot of good cultural. Obviously Islam didn't come to just eradicate all the culture in a certain culture, correct? So we see things in the certain Japanese culture, and I often make this example. that now we can't, living here, push our culture on someone else. But we obviously, when you go into a Japanese culture, they don't shake hands, most, right? So we continue that same thing out of respect for the women. We don't touch what we don't have the right to touch, correct? So tell us about that. You also have the taking off of shoes, which actually here, this is a normal culture, even though you got 500 some, bacterias and that you just walked on the lawn, the grass, and they sprayed it with, chemicals, and you're bringing that stuff in the house. Come on, people. But in Japan, it's shoes off, right? And no shake.
Shoes off. Yes.
Tell us about that.
And often the case, their foods are clean enough.
Yeah, mashallah. So this is something. What else? Tell us more about the Japanese culture, things that you can share with us.
Well,
samurai. What about the samurai? Is this the samurai?
Samurai is legend, mate. Samurai is legend. So you don't find samurai nowadays in the.
But you have the samurai. I teach martial arts.
Oh, mashallah. What do you do?
I do Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Jesus! Wow. Now I do the Aikido. I mean.
Oh, mashallah. See, now when you look, you have there, I believe jiu-jitsu is also practiced there. You have this.
Yes.
Many people know martial arts. Let's say the samurai, there's certain qualities of honor, respect, dignity. Didn't these martial arts, they had this code of ethics, this code of conduct?
Yes. Yeah. They do. Yes.
So is this also...
very ironically, to us, people of faith, they take practicing martial arts and others as their way of life, so they satisfy with it, not and then don't go for searching for the further truth.
Oh, further, they stop there.
No, they stop there.
I try to connect these different things, these qualities, like you have this and this. Islam teaches us to have noble character, dignity, honor, respect. All of these things are there in Islam. Obviously, it's on the footing of the pure monotheism.
Yeah. So as a nature of Japanese people, they are native religious people. Maybe many of them are not aware of that, but they are very religious. However, that's why they have a sense of being grateful to everything around, surrounding and everything. That's connecting them to the Creator is another issue. So, mashallah, lucky you, people of America, you have the common background of the prophets and the one God. Yeah. So the distance between two is quite different.
I hear what you're saying. Tell me, you have like between 80 and 100 masjids in Japan?
Yep.
Yeah. We found that this is one of my best friends, Dr. Sabi Ahmed. He runs the Gang Peace, and I work and collaborate with him. And he says, like many others, that one of the most effective tools of dawah are the open houses. We need to open the masjids for the not yet Muslims to come. How are those from those 80 to 100 masjids? Are they open? Do they have these open houses like we're trying to get people to do more here?
Yes, some of them, very limited ulamas of masjid are, mashallah, doing such open house way. And like the one Tokyo Masjid is very, it is beautiful enough, even to be a sightseeing place. So then they have a sightseeing tour and others. So they welcome all the ordinary, non-Muslim Japanese people every day. And the other one, for example, in Okachimachi in Tokyo, the downtown of the Tokyo, Masjid al-Salam, also, which many times that Sheikh Husseini visits. Yeah. Anyway, they have a open house atmosphere. But unfortunately, all the majority of masjids are quite, how do you say, isolated or blocked within themselves, limited within themselves. And
we got a couple minutes. They're signaling that we got. I'm really enjoying talking to you. I really am.
Me too.
Thank you. Just a couple more questions. We saw you giving the shahada. Shahada is when someone finally recognizes what the purpose of life is. They testify what's in their nature, that I bear witness that there's nothing worthy of worship except the creator of the heavens and earth. And Muhammad, just like Jesus, Moses, Abraham, all the other messenger, was the last final prophet sent to mankind. We saw you giving someone the shahada helping facilitate this in this masjid there, do you see more Japanese waking up to this truth and coming to the true purpose of life in Japan?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, numbers of new Muslims in Japan are in daily basis increasing. Alhamdulillah. But the challenge is, let me repeat, the follow-ups.
Yeah, we have that same issue. Yeah, follow-ups, very, very important, right? It's easy to get the shahada, everybody come, hugs, kiss, and then forget about the person.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'd like to appoint like a guardian angel, somebody to be with that person, right? To help them learn to pray, to help them to establish five pillars of Islam. Yeah. Sheikh, tell us, what other advice? I mean, do you recommend people to? Is it easy to get a visa to come visit Japan? Could people come visit you at your masjid?
Yes, come around.
Yeah,
come around.
You're in the main masjid in Tokyo, correct?
Sorry?
You're in the main masjid in Tokyo.
Not really a main masjid. It's
the community.
Where I serve as Imam is the masjid of Japan Muslim Association,
it's in the
which
center.
is in the middle of Tokyo. But the biggest masjid in Tokyo is the Tokyo Jami, which is under the Turkish government.
I see. Okay, but your masjid is called the Kamiya Masjid?
No, Gotanda. Yes, Gotanda. Yes.
Okay, Sheikh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Continue soon. Next time, maybe a part 2.
Thank you very much. Thank you, brother and sister. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, guys. It's very nice being with you guys here on this live ICNA Dawah conference. Remember what we can learn from here. We have an obligation from the brother who shared his story, that he was greeted with hospitality. He was greeted with that warm greeting, but then also it didn't stop there. Then you had 2 people from the family, one giving the Quran and say, read for yourself, look into this, don't let the media think for you. And then you had the other son who's giving the proofs and the evidences. So there were a father-son connection. And that's what we can do. We can go ahead and represent this deen in the most beautiful way with the good akhlaq, but we also have to go ahead and share the message, because if you care, you share. Thank you, guys. Peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum.